How do they justify Citizens United? I lay it out. Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel.
Quick question for you, Thom, if I could. In the last hour, you were talking about originalism in terms of the court. And Scalia was on the court in 2010 when Citizens United was decided. Could you make an originalist argument for Citizens United?
Well, there were two large pieces to Citizens United. The first was that money is the same thing as speech, and the second was that corporations are the same as persons. And the argument is made in the decision by Scalia and his colleagues, and is called out specifically and rebutted by John Paul Stevens in his rebuttal, or in his dissent, excuse me. And that is, the argument that they made is kind of twisted around. They said, you and I, under the First Amendment, Bob, you and I, as citizens of the United States, have not only the right to free speech, that is to speak, but an important part of the right of free speech is to hear as well. And if we inhibit the most well-informed economic voices in our society, and that's a phrase that's in the decision, the most well-informed economic voices, which is corporations. If we inhibit them from being able to speak to us by saying you can't run a political ad in favor of a particular candidate or a particular issue, then we are denying ourselves the ability to hear speech, and that's every bit as much an infringement on free speech as stopping somebody from speaking in the first place. So by saying to billionaires, no, you can't, buy these ads and support these politicians with your money, or saying to a corporation, you can't do that, that we're actually violating the core principle of the First Amendment free speech clause. That's their argument. Now, I would say in response to that, and this is what John Paul Stevens says in his dissent in Citizens United, and that dissent, by the way, only runs a few pages, and it's fascinating reading, and every American should read it. It should be part of civics courses. It's a very digestible dissent. And in his dissent, he basically says this is a complete nonsense argument. It's twisting reality to meet this case. And is that to say that if some poor person doesn't have the ability to publish a newspaper article or run an advertisement, that we should subsidize that? I mean, where did this mythical right to be heard come from? Yes, we want an informed populace, but it's one of the reasons why we have the media and why we specifically protect the media in the First Amendment. But to say that we have to similarly protect billionaires and corporations and their ability to speak to us and inform us about the important issues of the day, the four liberals on the court just said that's nonsense. The five conservatives on the court said, no, this is the essence of the entire argument.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, Bob, thanks a lot for the call. I hope that was helpful. I don't have. It's really hard to defend some of these arguments, but I'm telling you, the dissent in Citizens United is brilliant. There's actually a couple of them. And in fact, I believe Ginsburg may have authored one of the secondary dissents. It's been 10 years since I read it, but it's pretty awesome.